Welcome back, everyone. We got another fun little video called Battlefield Surgery in the Age of Gunpowder, the gruesome history. We did this channel a couple weeks ago, and we talked about like medieval ailments and medicines and how you would treat something in the medieval ages. Well, now it's getting a little bit more gruesome, as you can see in the title. Very excited. Great things so far from this channel, so excited to do more like we're doing today. Let's go.
So is it all right to walk around with a musket ball left in you?
Well, it's best if you get them out.
So you'd have had to tell the difference between bone and lead musket.
Oh yes. So we've got egg yolk, turpentine and oil of roses. We put that in there and we just make a little hole.
I would have to be so ill to let you do that to my head.
Oh my god. The gory art of battlefield surgery. Oh, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be crazy. Warning.
The transition from the medieval period into Tudor times and on into the civil wars saw advancing technologies. One of those technologies really did change the battlefield.
Gunpowder.
Gunpowder. It revolutionised warfare. It also caused all sorts of wounds that hadn't really been seen before. I've come to the commandery in Worcester. This was a medieval hospital. It was one of the royalist headquarters during the Civil War. It's the perfect place to come and learn about these deadly new weapons, the carnage they caused, and whether surgery was able to keep up with the horrifying new wounds.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine being a doctor during the age of gunpowder? It's just like it's like a continuous like whack-a-mole game. Things just keep coming up. Things just keep happening. It's hard to keep things in wraps. We're gonna learn today though.
So last time you were with Matt, you're talking about medieval battlefield surgery. And that blew my mind. But we've now moved forward into the Tudor era. What's happening? What's changing?
Well, we've got a growth in firearms.
Look at that. The musket.
Indeed. Firearms did emerge in the 15th century, and at the Battle of Bosworth there were probably more firearms than there were bows and arrows. However, in the 16th century, these are now taking precedence.
What kind of damage does one of those do to the human body?
Basically,
Dang, tiny little pebble.
it's going to smash bone. It's going to penetrate the human body. It's going to get into organs. And what's worse is, it's not just going to go like an arrow and go in the one place.
It's going to bounce.
It's going to end up going all round the body.
So it pinballs down your chest.
Exactly.
cavity.
Similar with arrow wounds, it's going to take in bits of material. It can take in little bits of armour, bone.
How does medical science evolve to try and heal people?
Things really, from a philosophical point of view, haven't moved on. We're still in the era of the four humours.
Still in the four humors. You might not have a head, but you got some yellow bile. That's how I view it.
Blood, phlegm, yellow bile and black bile. If your humours are equal, you are healthy. If you've got too much of a particular humour or not enough, then you're in a state of disease, you're ill. So anything penetrating the human body is going to imbalance the humours.
You bet it is.
But there is one area things are moving on, technology. And this was due to one man, Ambrose Paré, a brilliant technologist, brilliant innovator.
Ambrose Paré.
Still a man of his time, however. He made some fantastic discoveries and some brilliant inventions.
I'm not surprised. A lot of Frenchmen needed bullets taken out of them in this period.
Extracting a musket ball.
So if you're trying to detect a musket ball, you actually use the same technique as you did when searching for an arrow. You probed.
Okay.
For that, I need a subject.
Not me, I hope.
Oh no. No. One I prepared earlier.
This poor guy.
Yeah, this is Joe.
Joe.
He's been hit by a musket ball, has he?
He has. We've got some damage at the side. The first thing we have to do, using the knife, and we're just going to reopen the wound a bit.
And obviously, no anaesthetic here, right? Joe's awake and you're just opening up the wound, working on him like that.
Paré doesn't record any anaesthetic being used. So
Could you numb it somehow?
we must assume no. And then we're going to probe the wound. What we're doing is wait and see if you can feel the bullet, and I can. So
you're doing it by touch?
Yeah,
Come on, go.
you can.
So you'd have had to tell the difference between bone and lead musket.
Oh, yes.
I think that's it there.
Yeah,
isn't it?
you've got it, yeah. Now, we've got to be careful because the one thing we don't want to do is to push that ball further into the chest. So, I get the least invasive piece of equipment. I'll go with this one.
Let's have a look at these. It's a pair of snipe nose pliers.
Yeah, but the only problem is I've got to make the wound a little bit wider again.
Oh my gosh. And the infection just rises. The particular chances of infection just goes through the roof.
To fit these in.
Yeah.
God dang.
Joseph is seriously regretting his decision to join the Spanish Armada here. You're just digging it out, aren't you?
Oh, basically, yes.
And that's just one. Imagine you get hit with like 3.
Oh.
And that's very superficial. It's not even a deep wound.
Yes.
Oh.
Now,
That is quite satisfying, actually, isn't it?
Joe probably thinks so too.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to probe a bit more because we want to make sure that the ribs are intact. Still springed
yeah.
it.
So
With a little less vigour, if I might.
Less vigour.
Less vigour.
So you can tell from a rib when you're touching it, you can tell if it's still connected to all the right bits.
Yeah, you can feel it, how smooth it is. It's not fractured in any way. What we'll then do is we'll apply a little roll of bandage, soaked in turpentine.
So a bit of disinfectant.
Yeah.
So without
Okay, so disinfectant is a thing. That is very important.
knowing why, they were starting to understand they had to somehow keep that wound clean.
They did recognise, come the 16th century, that wounds could turn gangrenous. But to them, it was an imbalance of the humours. So it really was, make sure there was no unpleasant smells coming from it. Most important. And if he's got a robust enough immune system, he should pull through.
Joe lives to fight again another day.
That's providing he's got a surgeon who is well up on the latest techniques. Otherwise, it might be a case of just pulling the musket ball out and applying a red hot cautery.
Cauterize it. Oh my God. That's
The
crazy.
one thing that Paré was most famous for was his discovery during a battle. The standard treatment for wounds was cauterizing. You heat it up in the fire, stick it in the wound, and stops the wound bleeding. You had cauterizing irons matched for any wound. For this one, a slice, stick it in.
Oh, that's if you get a sword blow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other way you could do it would by applying a hot oil, hot elder oil and treacle.
You heat that up and just douse it on someone's wound.
Exactly.
Pain meets pain.
And that stops it bleeding. Does it also stop infection?
Yes, but you could also trap the infection inside.
That's true.
However, this is what Paré discovered. This was a game changer. In this bowl, I've got egg yolk, turpentine oil, and rose oil.
How did you discover that?
Because he'd run out of the elder oil and the treacle.
Imagine the other stuff he must have used to get
Yeah.
to that, though.
So this is it's a cold oil. So there's only one way to find out if it
I
works.
think I know where this is going.
Would you like to roll up?
Oh my
Sleeve?
I'd like
gosh.
to shoot myself as well.
Just going to put some of that on.
So this is cold oil. So previously it's been super hot treacle. Now it goes to cold egg yolk.
Yeah, so we've got egg yolk, turpentine, and oil of roses.
That is unbelievable, that smell.
Yes,
Oh
but
my.
turpentine does have antiseptic
Just let me bleed out.
qualities.
Does it?
So do roses. But what happened was, Paré discovered that the men he applied this to, their wounds healed far more quicker than those who'd had the hot oil treatment.
I'm not surprised. If I was an infection, I'd run a mile. So he didn't know why, but what was actually going on? Because it's a disinfectant. Isn't it?
Yeah, in a way, yes. But what's happening is he has got no idea of this. He's still a man who deals with the four humours. But this was a major move forward. What he did influenced surgeons throughout history. And I say surgeons, in this country, thanks to Henry VIII, we've now got the Guild of Barber Surgeons.
So it's not just a Wild West. You're a surgeon, you're part of the guild, you're registered with the king, and you can practice.
Okay, so you got professionals, basically.
In some ways, it's a good time to be a surgeon because you've got these wonderful books available. In the 16th century, we've got Vesalius, we've got Da Vinci, massive exploration into the human body. And you've got guys like Paré making these new discoveries.
We've got plenty of people shooting each other as well.
Got plenty of subjects to work on.
So they've got lots to practice on.
Indeed.
So Joe has had the bullet removed.
Yeah.
He's found himself a ship. They've limped back to Spain.
Yeah.
What are his chances of surviving though? Because his troubles are only really just beginning, aren't they? There's lots that can still kill him.
The most important thing is how robust his immune system is. The better nourished you were, the more robust your immune system
So class matters.
was.
Which of course in armies, famously, they're always lacking food, they've got bad water. So a lot of the time, I'm sure that would be a huge problem.
Yeah, it was a big problem. In this case, we'll imagine that he's been looked after, so his immune system is robust. We haven't had any problems with the fracturing of ribs. Didn't appear to be any clothing pushed into the wound. What we're going to look at now is if there's been any gunpowder burns.
Gunpowder burns.
Now, Paré really didn't like gunpowder burns. He saw gunpowder as poisonous. We know that's not necessarily true, but to Paré, that had to be dealt with.
Those are burns caused by gunpowder igniting close to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Would he cut the skin?
I've got a treatment for that.
Oh, good.
Oh God.
Onion paste.
Onion paste?
Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. The things he must have smeared over his patients before he found stuff that worked. And with modern science, is there actually any benefit of this?
There is. Onions contain
So it's an anti-inflammatory, right?
sulfites. Sulfites are excellent for killing bacteria. So, yeah, there is a sound science behind it. Not that Paré understood that.
This is a very basic antibiotic.
Very, very basic.
So maybe he used the scientific method to deduce that doing this did work.
To him, it's balancing the humours.
So smearing this all over a wound wouldn't do any harm. In fact, it might help.
Yeah.
There's so many different types of wounds, aren't there? So many different weapons, so many different things that can happen to you on a battlefield. So presumably there's all sorts of different tools appropriate to each wound.
Mainly, we see a growth when it comes to musket balls. They're getting really common on battlefields. There's one thing about a lead musket ball. It's soft. If the ball is lodged somewhere and you need a bit more force to get it out, then you can use a contraption like this. You would place that against the ball. That would then be twisted down, and as it goes down, bores
Into the ball.
into the ball.
But all the time pressing against whatever it's
Exactly. So that's
Gosh, this is not a fun time at all.
going to be agony. Another kind of instrument we've got are forceps, which allow the surgeon to go in, catch the ball, and easily withdraw it. One of Paré's famous ones is this one, which some wags have called the hungry hippo.
If you're
A
opening those
hungry
jaws
hippo.
inside the body, that surely is doing quite a lot of damage when you're in there, isn't it?
Yes, there's no way around that. If they need to get the ball out, sometimes they may leave the ball in if they didn't think it was going to do any damage.
So is it all right to walk around with a musket ball left in you?
Well, It's best if you get them out because lead may have antimony in them, that can be poisonous. But if you couldn't, sometimes they may work themselves out, a bit like arrows did. It's a process of sloughing, and that is close enough to the surface.
Body forces out the ball.
Yeah.
Wow. And if you couldn't get the bullet out at all, there was always the nuclear option, right? That's just saw it off.
Yeah, amputation, where it almost feels so meme-ish, like, because, you know, depending on the severity of it, it would be like a default.
Amputation becomes more common once we get into the English Civil War. One of the people who were really in favour of amputations during the English Civil War was Richard Wiseman. He was the royalist surgeon. And of course, one thing that's going to happen with musket balls is they can shatter bones. If a bone gets shattered, the limb has got to come off.
Is that right? It's not just going to heal itself?
It's not going to heal. A shattered bone will not heal itself. Well, we've got a very, very good example of what happens when
Is that true?
you don't treat a wound. And that happened here at the Commandery in 1651 at the Battle of Worcester. Hamilton, the commander of the Royalist forces, was wounded in his leg. The attending surgeon at the time was Richard Wiseman. However, Wiseman decided he was going to accompany Charles II and leave Hamilton to the tender mercies of a couple of apprentices. Things did not go well. Hamilton's condition deteriorated. Even Cromwell offered to send his surgeon to help Hamilton. Hamilton refused and eventually died.
So, should they have amputated Hamilton's leg?
Probably yes, because once gangrene had set in, either you practiced debridement, cutting away the flesh, but if the bone had been shattered, the leg had to come off.
So if I'm shot in the arm here,
Yeah.
you'd have had that arm off in a flash.
If the bone shattered, if the infection had set in, yes.
Trepanning? Oh God, no.
This is where Paray again came to the fore. In the last documentary that we did, looking at trepanning, it was a hand drill.
Trepanning, so going into the brain,
Into the skull.
into the skull.
Into the skull. We don't go into the brain.
Of course, don't touch the brain.
Don't touch the brain. They knew that in the medieval period, don't touch the brain.
So
Well, I hope so.
This is head wounds now.
Head wounds, yeah.
Can you give me a demonstration how this was done?
I certainly can. Do we have a willing subject?
Well, actually, luckily, I have just been out of the garden bludgeoning a skull with a musket, so here's one I prepared earlier.
Excellent.
What do you reckon, Kev? Is it survivable?
Probably not, because as we can see, there's been a couple of blows here. Basically, that is going to liquefy the brain, which just demonstrates how vicious even the butt end of a musket could be.
Dang.
If there wasn't a gaping hole there, then I would be suggesting we drill a hole.
Look at that.
Paray's design for a drill, still used even today in hospitals. It's a brace and bit. Anybody who's into woodwork would recognise it.
1 second. Why are you drilling a big hole in someone's head in the first place?
You might be a depressed fracture, maybe an embedded weapon.
Okay, so if I hadn't hit it as hard, if it just sort of pushed the skull in a bit,
Yeah.
you drill out the bits.
We need to get that bone out. We need to get the pressure off the brain. To the 17th century mind, we've disrupted the humours.
Right, you bet you have.
Always the humors.
So, if you are going to drill into somebody's skull,
Just don't try this at home.
you go back to the knife, we would cut across, and then we would lever the skin back. So expose the skull,
Oh my God.
then get a little auger, we put that in there, and we just make a little hole. Now, in that little hole we've made, we will place that spike, and then we cut round.
Goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
And that chops a nice little round circle out the skull.
Indeed it does, because we've got the cutting edge there, but don't forget, there's a problem. You've got a great big spike there. If you carry on going down, that spike's going to pierce the brain. So this is where Paré was really clever.
Retractable.
Okay, remove the spike, you fix the hood to the depth you want, replace the cutting edge in the groove you've made, and carry on drilling through.
That's insane. This guy's not going to be under any anesthesia or anything to calm him down. They had him passed out, right? Like, how do you stay awake when someone's doing this to you? Like, you're biting down on. You heard this the term bite the bullet. This had him been biting the bullet, right?
Okay.
I would have to be so ill to let you do that to my head. I mean, I think I'd take death over that. Oh.
We can't do that, however. Not with this one.
Because there's a big hole in the skull.
There's a big hole already.
So what are we using?
Okay, first thing we're going to do, cut the skin away. We've got some loose pieces of bone in there. We don't want those pieces of bone penetrating the brain. So, what I'm going to do,
Forceps.
Poking around inside the skull.
Like an operation.
There we go.
oh God, there we go. Now, we've got a couple more pieces in there.
There's another little piece coming out.
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
Now, we've got the pieces of skull out.
Yeah.
We didn't want any pieces being left in and penetrating the brain. There's something else I've got to do now, and I've got to use another instrument that was invented by Paré, the elevator, because I just want to make sure that all the pieces around the hole are still secure. We place that on the skull and we just go around making sure none are loose.
So it's like an egg, like a boiled egg. You don't want another piece just to break off.
And thankfully, they're all secure.
Wow.
Could that heal over?
Not really, no. But in the 17th century, we started applying silver coins.
What, they plugged the gap with a silver coin?
Coin, yeah. But we haven't quite finished because there's still some sharp edges.
Yes, I was going to say.
What we need is the lenticular. So that goes into the hole, and then what we do is we just go around
Shaving off the edges.
shaving off the edges.
And the guy is conscious while you're doing this.
Yeah, but don't forget, there's no nerve endings in the skull.
That makes me feel better.
There's no nerve. Okay, but there's definitely nerve endings in the skin. There's got to be some pain, though, right?
Yeah, so you're not going to feel it. And even today, when we do operations on the brain, people are still awake. So the surgeons know if they hit anyway and there's a problem, how the patient responds. However, Wiseman did make a complaint about some surgeons doing trepanning. He said all too often they take off with pieces of the skull and use them as amulets.
Lucky
Amulets.
Charms.
Yeah, he didn't like that. So what would happen is cover the wound up, make sure the pus is flowing, and then bed rest. But this is an expensive operation.
Could only the richest people in society afford to have their head trepanned?
Yeah, they could afford the treatment. In the English Civil War, a lot of the soldiers, the foot soldiers, would have to deal with whoever's in the baggage train, often surgeons getting practice, the journeymen. Those as part of regiments would have their own surgeons paid for by the commanders, the lords.
I'd pay someone a lot of money not to have my head drilled into. So it's amazing that as military technology is advancing on the battlefield, the medical technology is keeping pace with it, or trying to.
And it's always been that way. The daughter of war is surgery. New weapons, you need to develop new ways of dealing with the results of those weapons. For example, superglue was originally developed to shut wounds.
So they're getting better at treating the wounds with better equipment, but is their understanding of the basic human biology changing as well?
They are getting an understanding of how the muscles work, the anatomy, but it is frozen in what causes disease and what causes illnesses and sepsis and gangrene. That's frozen. And that remains for some centuries to come.
As always, history hits coming with the fire on this video. It's just outstanding. Guys, could you have bared yourself to been able to had a post-medieval surgery such as this from a gunpowder wound, the trepanning, the amputation, the dislodging of a musket ball? It just seems just so, I don't know, it just seems right of the worst of the worst. Just knowing, if you get shot, that's not even the worst part. There's a journey between getting shot to being healed and the process of the surgery, and then hopefully it doesn't get infected, and then it's Groundhog Day and you got to go right back out there and do the same thing sometimes. What a horrendous time to live. Appreciate you guys watching. Leave me some video suggestions down below. Peace out and bye-bye.